Precisely 6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Lal Mallavarachi and read by Sharifa Tahir. Headlines. The President has assured a pay hike to all public servants from the budget. Aswasama payments for the month of August will be credited to the beneficiary accounts from tomorrow. Heavy rains are experienced in the upper catchment areas of the Daduru Oya and Kuda Ganga. The National Industry Excellence Awarding Ceremony will be held in Colombo tomorrow. The proposed electricity sector reforms bill was submitted to the Cabinet. Foreign news, Israel rules out ceasefire with Hamas, saying this is a time for war. In sports, Afghanistan defeated Sri Lanka by 7 wickets. Local news in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has assured a pay hike to all public servants from the budget this year. The President has given this assurance to the Cabinet according to sources from the Presidential Secretariat. The President also assured that he shall make a request for a pay hike for the private sector workers as well from next year. He has also informed the Cabinet that the move by some political parties and trade unions to take the credit for the pay hike is baseless. He had informed the ministers that the government policy would be to grant salary increments to public servants in a situation where prices of essential goods are increased. The President is expected to present the budget for the year 2023 on the 13th of November. State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe says that Aswasama payments for the month of August will be credited to the beneficiary accounts from tomorrow. Meanwhile, the allowance for September will also be credited during the month of November. Semasinghe further expressed that the Aswasama applicants who were not selected for the benefit scheme due to technical and management issues will be screened once again during Aswasama week, which is due to be held from the 6th to the 12th of November. State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapati says that all suggestions received regarding the budget this year will be taken into consideration. The aim of this year's budget proposal is to lead the country towards a stable economy. The government has focused more attention to reduce state expenditure and increase the revenue. The Irrigation Department informs that a flood threat can be occurred in the low-lying areas of the Kudaganga River Basin, which is of the Kaluganga, as heavy rains are experiencing in the upper catchment areas. Therefore, a minor flood threat may occur in Bulat Sinhala, Madravela, and Palindanuara Divisional Secretariat areas. People living in the said areas and motorists who use roads in these areas should be vigilant over rising water level. The Irrigation Department also mentions that a considerable rainfall is reported from the catchment areas of the Dadroya Reservoir. It is spilling with a discharge rate of 14,000 cubic feet per second currently, and there is a possibility of increasing the spill discharge of the reservoir. Accordingly, the residents of the low-lying areas of Dadroya Valley in Variapala, Nikavaratia, Mahava, Bingiriya, Pallama, Chilau, Arachikattua, and Rasnayakapura Divisional Secretariat divisions are requested to be on alert. Meanwhile, the NBRO has issued early landslide warnings to 8 districts of the island. Accordingly, many areas in the Ratnapura, Badulla, Colombo, Gaul, Hambantota, Kaluthura, Kurunagala and Mathura districts are under landslide threat. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation giving you the news. We move on with more local stories. The National Industry Excellence Awarding Ceremony will be held at the Lotus Pond Theatre in Colombo tomorrow under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Industrial Development Board has organized National Industry Excellence Award competition under the purview of the Ministry of Industries. About 300 entrepreneurs in 21 industrial sectors who have won the Industry Excellence Awards at district, provincial and national levels will be honored with gold, silver and bronze awards. Minister Dr. Ramesh Patirana, State Ministers Prasanna Ranavira and Chamara Sampath Dasanayaka will also grace this occasion. A delegation of the World Bank engaged in an observatory tour to look into the climate-smart irrigated agriculture project, which aims to improve the productivity and climate resilience of smallholder agriculture in Sri Lanka. They visited the Climate-Smart Irrigated Agriculture Training School in Anuradhapura yesterday in order to observe the progress of the project. The delegation, headed by the Managing Director of Operations of the World Bank, arrived in the island on a request made by the President at a meeting with the Chairman of the World Bank. Veteran Sri Lanka cheer squad leader Percy Abesekara, fondly known as Uncle Percy by cricket fans across the world, has passed away. Sri Lanka's famous cheer squad leader celebrated his 87th birthday in August this year, but has reportedly been unwell in the recent past. Uncle Percy was known to be one of the longest-standing supporters of the Sri Lankan cricket team. He unfurled the Sri Lankan flag in support of his beloved team since the 1979 World Cup. That's local news for the moment.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara says that the proposed electricity sector reforms bill was submitted to the Cabinet Ministers yesterday for its observations and approval. Taking into X, Minister Wijesekara stated that the proposed reforms will unbundle the services of Ceylon Electricity Board, improve efficiency, transparency, competition, and allow private sector participation in the electricity industry. He said the bill was prepared over the last 10 months with the assistance of energy and legal experts from development agencies and industry stakeholders. The Energy Minister expressed that the bill received the certification of the Attorney General last week. Once the Cabinet of Ministers approves the bill, it will be gazetted and tabled in the Parliament for approval.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
And on Watchla, the tally of dengue cases recorded for this year has surpassed the 68,000 mark according to the Epidemiology Unit. As of yesterday, 68,114 cases have been reported this year, with the highest number of cases being from Colombo district, which stood at 14,401. The Western Province has recorded over 32,000 cases. The month of October has also lodged 3,631 dengue cases. Meanwhile, a total of 39 fatalities have been reported since January this year. People are urged to keep their surroundings clean and destroy mosquito breeding places in order to keep dengue at bay during this rainy season. That came to you on Watchlight. Moving on to World News Headlines. Israel rules out ceasefire with Hamas, saying this is a time for war. Indian police investigate deadly blast targeting Jehovah's Witnesses in Kerala. A report says carbon emissions threaten 1.5 Celsius climate threshold sooner than thought. We move on to world news in detail. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected calls for a ceasefire in Gaza, saying it would amount to a surrender to Hamas. Speaking in Tel Aviv, Netanyahu cites the Bible as he says, "This is a time for war." Meanwhile, UN aid agencies repeated their calls for a humanitarian ceasefire at an emergency UN Security Council meeting. UNICEF says the situation in Gaza is growing worse by the hour, and the true cost of this latest escalation will be measured in children's lives. Police in India are investigating a series of explosions which killed 3 people at a Jehovah's Witnesses meeting in the southern state of Kerala. More than 50 others were injured in the blast on Sunday at an event held by the Christian-based religious movement near the port city of Kochi. A man was detained after he posted a video claiming responsibility for the attacks and surrendered to the police. Police said they were still trying to verify his confession. Human fossil fuel emissions are threatening a key climate threshold twice as quickly as previously thought, a new report says. Researchers say the 1.5 Celsius limit could be continually breached by 2029 rather than the mid-2030s. They say record emissions of carbon dioxide over the past 3 years are a key factor. They also point to have a better understanding of how the burning of fossil fuels affects the atmosphere. That's on World News.
Development News.
Minister of Aviation and Shipping, Nimal Siripala de Silva, said Sri Lanka is looking at attracting investment for green hydrogen and green ammonia production in the port of Colombo. We have already reached out to institutions for expertise in this regard, he said at the 26th AGM of the Sri Lanka Association of Vessel Operators in Colombo recently, and also commended their role in the industry. The minister also said that the landscape of the maritime industry was rapidly evolving with a strong emphasis on environmentally friendly practices. Vessel owners worldwide are increasingly investing in green technology to reduce emissions. That's on development news. Moving on to sports news. Afghanistan defeated Sri Lanka by 7 wickets in Pune yesterday to record their third win of the World Cup and maintain their hopes of a semi-final place. Set 242 to win after a disciplined bowling display, Afghanistan finished on 242 for 3 with Azmatullah Omarzai unbeaten on 73 and captain Hashmatullah Shahidi 58 not out, the pair sharing an unbroken stand of 111. Afghanistan won the toss and asked Sri Lanka to bat first. Sri Lankan batters failed to move scoreboard forward. All of their top 7 batters got off to promising starts, but not a single one of them managed to really kick on and put pressure on the Afghanistan bowlers. Afghanistan has now moved on to the 5th position of the points table with 6 points after winning 3 matches. That's on Sports News.
Go ekak tiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The government has recently gazetted the requirements that needs to be met in order to conduct duty-free retail business operations or duty-free shopping mall operations at the Colombo port city. The gazette stipulates that an investor is required to devote a minimum of $5 million to run a duty-free retail business and have international level experience in duty-free trade operations.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak tiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And on economic news, State Minister Shehan Semasinga says the economy cannot be stabilized just by collecting tax. The government hopes to collect the due tax from those who neglect paying tax through digitization process. Reluctance to adjust to the current situation resulted in the economic crisis. The minister added that the president is committed to overcome the crisis situation.
Weather report.
Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in most provinces of the island after 2 p.m. Showers or thunder showers will occur in the eastern province during the morning hours. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters are likely at some places in the western Sabaragamu, central, southern and Uva provinces and in the Kurunegala district. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the Sabaragamu, central and Uva provinces during the morning. That's the weather update. Back to the headlines before we wind up this bulletin of news. The President has assured a pay hike to all public servants from the budget. Aswasuma payments for the month of August will be credited to the beneficiary accounts from tomorrow. Heavy rains are experiencing in the upper catchment areas of the Dadaroya and Kudaganga. The National Industry Excellence Awarding Ceremony will be held in Colombo tomorrow. The proposed electricity sector reforms bill was submitted to the cabinet. Foreign news: Israel rules out ceasefire with Hamas, saying this is a time for war. In sports, Afghanistan defeated Sri Lanka by 7 wickets. With that, we conclude the morning bulletin of news, and it's back to Soundy this morning.